The Brave Little Tailor from 50 Famous Fairy Tales. One summer morning, a little tailor sat upon his work table, sewing industriously. He became hungry, and going to the cupboard, he got himself a piece of bread and jelly. Because he was so anxious to finish the waistcoat before the end of the day, he took a bite or two of bread and then put it down and went back to his work. In the meantime, the smell of sweet jelly filled the air, and flies descended in swarms. "Oh, who invited you?" asked the little tailor, and he seized a strip of cloth and struck out fiercely. Upon counting, he found before no less of them 7 dead flies. "What a brave fellow I am," he said, admiring himself. "The whole world must know this." Quickly cutting himself a belt, he stitched it upon large letters, "7 dead at one blow." The tailor fastened the belt around his waist and determined to show it to the world. Before he left, however, he looked around the house for something to take with him. He found nothing except for cheese and a tame pigeon. He put these into his pocket and started out. The road led over a mountain, and when the tailor reached the top, he saw a powerful giant. The giant approached him, saying, "Good day, comrade. I am on my way home to try to find my fortune. Would you like to come with me?" The giant looked scornfully at the little tailor and said, "You, Jack in a box, you miserable do nothing." "That is as I may prove," said the tailor, unbuttoning his coat, displaying the belt. "Come, read here what sort of man I am." The giant read, "7 dead at one blow." He thought it meant 7 men, whom the tailor had killed, and was greatly astonished. Wanting to test the tailor's power, the giant took a stone and squeezed it until a drop of water fell out. "Now do that," the giant said, "if you are so strong." "Only that," said the tailor. "That's child's play." He thrust his hand in his cheese and pressed it until the whey ran out. The giant, who was quite nearsighted, thought the cheese was a stone, and could hardly believe the little fellow was so powerful. The giant picked up the stone and threw it into the air. It went so high the tailor could scarcely follow it with his eyes. "Now," said the giant, "you do better." "That's quite a trick," said the tailor, "but your stone has returned to earth. Now I will throw one so high it shall never come down at all." And putting his head into the pocket, drew forth the bird and tossed in the air. The bird flew up and of course did not reappear. "What do you think of that?" asked the tailor. "You certainly throw well," returned the nearsighted giant. "Now we will see how you are at carrying." And he led the tailor to an enormous fallen oak. "If you are strong enough," he said, "help me carry this tree out of the wood." "Gladly," answered the little man. "You take the trunk on your shoulder, but I will carry all the branches and twigs." The giant took the trunk on his shoulder, but the tailor hopped onto the branch and rode along, whistling merrily. Now, being able to see around the trunk, the giant unknowingly did all the work, even carrying the little tailor. The giant, however, soon found the burden too heavy and cried, "Stop! I must let this tree fall." The tailor sprang nimbly off, seized the tree with both his arms as if he'd been carrying it, and said to the giant, "What a great fellow like you cannot carry such a tree." They left the oak where it fell and continued on their way till they saw a cherry tree growing on the wayside. The giant seized the top of the tree where the ripest fruit hung, bent it down, and handed it to the tailor to bade him to eat. Just as the tailor took hold, the giant let go, and the bent tree sprang back into place, and the little tailor tossed up over and landed on the other side. "Ha ha!" roared the giant. "Don't you have strength enough to hold on to a mere bush?" "Oh, I have strength," replied the tailor. "I jumped over the tree on purpose. Jump over it yourself if you can." The giant gave a leap, and one foot caught onto the branches, so again the little tailor had the better of him. Then the giant said, "As long as you are such a brave fellow, come into the cave and spend the night with me and my 6 brothers." The tailor was willing, and followed him to the cave. There he found 6 giants seated by the fire. After the supper, the giant pointed to a huge bed and told the tailor he might take it for the night. But it was too much big for him, so he curled up onto a pillow in the corner. Just before daybreak, the giant, supposing the tailor to be asleep in his bed, took an iron bar and beat the bed till the bedclothes were ribbons. But then, sure he had killed the dangerous man, the giant and his brothers went to the wood. Before long, who should come along but the tailor, whistling merrily as if nothing had happened. Sure now he would kill them all in one blow. The giants took their heels, and the tailor saw no more of them. The little man went on, after traveling a long time, came to a royal palace. Feeling extremely tired, he lay down on the grass in the courtyard and fell asleep. While he lay there, other people came by and read his belt. 7 dead at one blow. "Wow," they said. "What a great soldier he is." And they hurried to tell the king. The king thought such a powerful fighter would be useful in case of a war broke out, and sent one of the courtiers to ask the tailor to command all of the army. The courtier stood patiently waiting till the tailor awoke. Then he delivered this message. "That is why I am here," he replied. The tailor, who by now was quite convinced of his own bravery and completely forgotten the 7 he had killed had only been 7 flies. "I'm quite ready to take command." Now, the king's generals were jealous of this little tailor and wished he were 1,000 miles away. "What can be done?" they said. "If we begin a quarrel with him and get to fighting, he will slay all of us at once. We cannot risk that." So they went in a body to the king and asked him to be discharged. "We are not able," they said, "to stay in the same army as a man who can kill 7 in one blow." The king was sorry that all his old and faithful officers wanted to leave him, and wished he had never beheld the stranger, but he did not dare discharge him, for he feared the tailor would kill him and all his people, and then take possession of his kingdom. At last the king thought of a plan whereby he might get rid of the fellow. So he sent for the tailor, and told him that there was a large wood nearby that lived 2 giants who committed many murders and robberies. No one dared go near them. If the tailor could conquer and kill these giants, the king would give him his only daughter in marriage and half the kingdom as a wedding present. "Well," thought the tailor, "for such one as I, the king's beautiful daughter and half the kingdom is not bad. I do not have such an offer every day." So he replied, "I will soon overcome the giants. Surely, if I can settle 7 at one blow, I need not fear 2." The tailor set out, followed by 100 horsemen, at the edge of the woods, and said to them, "Wait here for me. I shall be better if I'm able to encounter the giants alone." Then, walking quietly, he looked about, and after a while discovered the giants. They were lying asleep under a tree. The tailor filled their pockets with stones and climbed the tree. He placed himself on the branch directly over the sleepers, and let one stone after another fall on the breasts of the giants. The giant sputtered and grumbled for some time. At last he awoke and pushed his companion and said, "Stop hitting me." "You're dreaming," the other said. I haven't even touched you." They lay down again, and at this time the tailor dropped a stone on the second giant. "What's this?" he cried, waking with a start. "Keep your hands off me. I haven't laid a finger on you," said the other. They grumbled and quarreled for some time, but they both were soon tired and went back to sleep. As soon as they began snoring, the tailor then took out a bigger stone and hit the first giant on the chest. "Ouch!" yelled the giant, springing up like a madman. He threw himself to his comrade and tried to tear him to pieces. They rolled back and forth in a rage, uprooting trees, fighting until they both lay on the ground dead. The tailor came back down from his hiding place. "What luck! They did not tear up the tree which I was seated," he said. Drawing his sword, he stabbed each of the giants, and then went to the horsemen, saying, "Well, that's that. Job done. What what a time I've had. The giants tore up the trees to defend themselves, but that does little good against a man like me who can kill 7 in one blow." The horsemen rode into the wood to see for themselves, and they found the giants, and all around them the trees were torn to the roots, and so they believed him. The little tailor now claimed his promised reward, but the king pretended that there was still more to the bargain. "Before you marry my daughter and obtain half the kingdom, you must perform another task. You must capture a unicorn who runs wild in the wood." "I fear the unicorn less than I did the 2 giants," boasted the tailor. Dead at one blow is my motto." Taking a rope and an axe, he went in search of the unicorn. The creature soon approached and charged upon the tailor. The little man sprang behind the oak, and the unicorn, who was going too fast to stop, lunged against a tree and buried its horn in the trunk so deeply he could not get free. "Ah," said the tailor, "now I have you." And he tied the legs of the unicorn together so it could not run away. Then he split the trunk of the axe and released the horn, and led it captive to the king. The king, however, would not allow the tailor to marry the princess. He told them he must first now go catch a wild boar, which had destroyed much property. "Well," said the tailor, "that's child's play. Let us go at once." He would not take the hunters with him, but went alone. When the wild boar saw the tailor, he rushed toward him, tusks gleaming, but the little tailor was too quick for him. He ran into a woodcutter's hut that was near, and leaped through a window at the other end. The boar was on his heels, and the tailor, running round the front door, closed it, so the animal was caught. The hero went at once to the king, who was now compelled to keep his promise and deliver the daughter and half the kingdom to the tailor. The marriage was celebrated with magnificence, and the tailor became a king. One night the young queen heard her husband talking in his sleep. caught the words, "So, waistcoat, finish these trousers, give me the yardstick." Then she knew at once her husband had worked for a living and was not suitable to be a king. She complained to her father the next day, begging his help in how to get rid of this husband, who was nothing but a tailor. The king comforted her and bade her leave the door open the next night. "My servants will wait outside," he said, "until he is asleep. Then they will tie him into a sack and carry him off to a ship, and you will be troubled by him no more." The young queen was pleased to hear this, but the tailor's page boy had overheard the plot and told the master. "Never fear," the tailor said, "I will spoil their plan." He went to bed as usual. When the queen thought he slept, she softly arose and opened the door, but the little tailor was only pretending to be asleep, and he began to call out in a loud voice, "Here, boy, sew this jacket, mend these trousers, or I will beat you with the yardstick. I have slain 7 with one blow, killed 2 giants, captured a unicorn and a wild boar. Why should I be afraid of those who are waiting outside my door?" When the servants heard these words, great fear seized them, and they ran off as if wild beasts were after them, and no one ever dared go against the tailor again. So the tailor remained a king, and in time his wife grew fond of him, and they ruled happily for many years.